Yes. Heather Lloyd is our next presenter. A bit of history about Heather. A bit of trivia. Heather was at the very first BettaKultcha, and she played the flute in the interval as a musical interlude. Exactly. And so here we are at BettaKultcha 10, and she's presenting big time. So I'm going to hand you over to Heather Lloyd. Give it up. Thank you.
Sex, violence, politics, religion. All of these subjects could potentially cause offence, but does this mean we shouldn't talk about them? Some people would say yes, and that's why my subject tonight is a history of censorship, past, present, and hopefully future. So censorship appears to be part of our human nature. Ancient Greece, ancient Rome, the Old Testament all record the burning of books and people even being executed for spreading beliefs that others didn't agree with. Even William Shakespeare failed to escape the censor's pen. Thomas Bowdler's family Shakespeare removed reference to anything considered to be offensive, and, some would argue, all of the literary merit, and even coined the word Bowdlerise, which is in the dictionary today. So the UK has a rich history of legal censorship. The first recorded conviction for obscenity was for a publication called Venus in the Cloister, which was essentially about naughty nuns spreading their sexy fantasies. I'm surprised it hasn't been on Channel 5, to be honest. 18th and 19th century, there were considerably more laws introduced, including the Stage Licensing Act, which was primarily to suppress politically inflammatory plays, and the Obscene Publications Act, which is still around today. So what is obscenity? This is clearly something highly subjective. The classic definition is something which tends to deprave and corrupt. Now, this assumes that everyone has the same moral sensibilities and also assumes we have no real judgment. So in 1959, a defence was introduced on the grounds of literary merit. Now, I'm concentrating on the written word, but also thought I'd better give a quick mention to the British Board of Film Classification, because I didn't realise till the other week it was actually founded in its earliest form way back in 1912. So as soon as a new form of media is introduced, people will be pouncing on it. And here's one for the ladies, a bit of Sean Bean. One of the most well-known literary censorship cases is the case of Lady Chatterley's Lover, which was prosecuted in 1960 but found not guilty, one of the first novels to be found not guilty under the literary defence. This one particularly disturbs me. It was the prosecution in 1984 of the bookshop Gay is the Word. The 80s were an era when no self-respecting household was complete without a copy of The Joy of Sex, yet The Joy of Gay Sex was clearly too much for the prosecutors to take. These are some of the most well-known books that have been banned, both in the UK and across Europe. But it's not just books of a kind of literary bent that have faced the censor's pen. In the last couple of years, there was one high-profile case which got quite a lot of column inches, which related to a guy called Darren Walker, who wrote a fan fiction story about the group Girls Aloud. This was admittedly quite disturbing in nature. It did kind of refer to sexual things and also to their eventual murder. However, this was actually... Find it funny if you like, triggers and all. But this was actually something that probably would never have had an audience of more than 0 if it wasn't for the fact that people tried to censor it. And I think Oscar Wilde would have found that really funny. I love this quote where he says, "There's no such thing as a moral or an immoral book, just a well-written or badly written one." This building's Senate House in London, which actually housed the University Library when I was at UCL. During World War I and II, it housed the Ministry of Information, which inspired George Orwell's Ministry of Truth in 1984. During the wars, it served to spread propaganda and also heavily influenced what was published in the UK press. Now, in this day and age, we'd like to believe that we have such a thing as a free press. However, there have been a number of incidents recently that have really called this into question. One of the first was the case a couple of years ago involving Trafigura, who the Guardian discovered that there was asked some questions relating to the illegal dumping of toxic waste and discovered they weren't allowed to report on this due to an injunction with the lawyers Carter Ruck. This next gentleman requires no introduction, I'm sure. Ryan Giggs paid a substantial amount of money to suppress details of his extramarital affairs. What I find most disturbing is the fact that with enough money, someone, 99.9% of the times a man, can get their, well, basically sweep it under the carpet if they've been doing it with Miss Wales. So there's one small beacon of hope for the future of censorship. Something that many of this audience will no doubt be huge advocates of. The saviour of free speech, Twitter. Now, admittedly, Twitter has a lot of crap on it too. For each golden tweet, there'll be 99 bits of utter shit. But what really is great about Twitter is the fact it gives us all the opportunity to become a citizen journalist. And my conclusion really is that in this day and age where on your smartphone you can get a whole film, a library full of books in seconds, or you can be spreading your opinions to the whole world in about 5 clicks, nothing brings more publicity to Slank than actually banning it. What is more alluring than something you're not supposed to read? Mae West made a fortune out of censorship. BettaKultcha is a great opportunity to say what you like, let people have debate, and most of all, free speech. That's a great conclusion, wasn't it? But I believe in it.
Thank you, Heather. We didn't put her up to that. That was completely unexpected, and what a fabulous presentation. Absolutely adored it.